Project Rise is Supercell's newest game, and it just went into pre-alpha, and I was lucky enough just to be able to play it. After Supercell killed Clash of Heroes for this game, I was like really excited to see what they had in store, as I was originally super hyped for Heroes. However, I had no idea how much of a video game Project Rise really was until I played it. So here's what I think. Alright, here's the basics. You get to select a hero with unique abilities and are thrown into a dungeon, forced to find an escape route. You battle your way through elongated skeletons, like why do they look like that, and smelly Mega Knights, until you get to a lift. However, on your way there, you'll kill enough monsters to level up and choose a perk. These perks may stay with you for the remainder of your stay in the dungeon, and even when you finish the dungeon. These perks can synergize with each other for some fun combinations with your heroes. Unfortunately, these perks are only one of the few good things within this pre-alpha. Anyways, back to the lift. Head up the lift while facing off against monsters and you complete the floor. Yay, woo. You're then taken to a screen where you either unlock a new hero ability, or carry over a perk. Cool, right? Wrong. If you happen to lose even once, you lose your perks. Awesome, great gameplay design. You might be wondering, why does Salty Mood X deep? I'm not salty. There's just a lot of flaws within the game that I'll voice with attempts to provide some constructive criticism. Ready? Alright, cool. Heavy disclaimer, this game is, again, in pre-alpha, so obviously it's not polished. One of the biggest flaws I found within the game was the repetitiveness. Now, Supercell loves making games that people will play for years, but I'm sorry, this is not it. For starters, each dungeon has a set design and path which is repeated floor by floor. There are some variations in the layout and environment, but overall you can feel the copy-paste format. As you progress floor by floor, you're met with stronger enemies as represented by their levels, but these enemies are again repeated, as you'll see goblins, skeletons, and guards wherever you go. Mix it up a little, I guess. Every 5 floors you face a boss. However, the boss is the same throughout, being a tower sentry with quite honestly the most basic boss design of all time. Don't get me wrong, I love boss battles, but this boss was absolute garbage in all honesty. The first phase is easy with sprinkles of fireballs here and there, but the second phase, oh my gosh, the second phase. It's an abstract mess. Enemy spam, projectile spam, even player input spam. You're just spamming your attack. There's simply too much going on at your screen at the same time. Don't even get me started with a fireball onslaught that is impossible to avoid. I mean, look at this. Sure. Okay. How are you supposed to dodge that? Like, practically, how are you supposed to dodge that? I feel like the repetitiveness was likely there because there's a lack of progression, which obvious since this is like a gameplay pre-alpha test. However, there were gameplay flaws that I noticed as well. There are 2 different types of attacks, light attacks and heavy attacks. Light attacks are done through auto-aiming, while heavy attacks are performed by holding your auto-attack and aiming. While not a horrible system of basic attacks, it's extremely finicky to use. Most of the time your auto-attacks hit air, even when an enemy is right next to you. Then your heavy attacks are heavily inconsistent, since sometimes your attacks won't even activate unless you stand still. This made core gameplay feel extremely awkward, as killing simple enemies felt more like mowing the lawn than actually being involved. Skills you can use are also inconsistent at times, but this is mostly just a polish issue. I also found myself wishing for button mapping, as my dash skills were normally put in awkward areas out of my preference, but again, pre-alpha. Another mechanic this game has is limited revives upon death. Once you die, your POV jump cuts to that of your teammate, and you wait about 10 seconds before respawning. Unfortunately, your revival will not matter, as there are no invincibility frames to keep you from dying in 1 millisecond. All we really need is iframes to fix this issue, but playing the squishiest hero and dying constantly due to this was quite annoying. Now, there was something I found incredibly frustrating during my playtest. What else could it be other than my teammates? Yep, this game has bad randoms too. For starters, when you get to select a perk, you have to wait through a long countdown of about 30 seconds if your teammate is indecisive and doesn't know which perk to pick. That is the worst part, however. I met a teammate on one of my adventures who decided to ignore the objective and wander off for 10 minutes. Yay! Why is this such a big deal? In order to enter the lift to finish the floor, all players have to be standing on the platform to activate. However, your random can decide not to hop on the lift, and you'll be stuck waiting there for all eternity. There's no forgiveness countdown, timer, or anything. Yeah, you're just waiting for that random. My random decided to take 2 laps around the entire map, while I sat there rotting. It gets worse. If your random happens to be AFK, well, womp womp, you're gonna have to swipe out of the game, buddy, because there's no way you're finished at 4 now. Yep, you're soft locked. That's literally what it is. These issues can be fixed through an emote system, some sort of countdown timer, and simply a bot that can play for your random teammate. Now, my final issue is quite excusable since the game lacks polishing, but I have to say that for an Unreal Engine game, it looks quite ugly. The environments, apart from the beautiful forest world, are pretty bland and similar, using shades of gray rocks and stones to define itself. I also thought the mob sprites were extremely strange, like why are skeletons and guards so tall? It does not look right. Now I bet this is going to change in the future, but this game was definitely not eye candy to say the least. While I just listed a bunch of flaws, this game certainly has redeeming qualities. For one, I love the perk synergy. When playing, I attempted to run a critical hit build that benefited from constant crits. It's fun melting everyone with the archer using this build, as the DPS can sometimes get out of hand. The hero abilities were really fun to learn. Even if some were mechanically simple, I especially love playing the fisherman and riding his waves with fireballs orbiting me, as it was just free damage. Although multiplayer is so flawed currently, the potential is so high. Imagine coordinated boss raids, story mode runs, and even a polished dungeon crawling experience with progression, all with your friends. I mean, it sounds like Cookie Run Tower Adventure, which is peak, by the way. But having a new Clash game that steps away from pure strategy sounds like a treat. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned. Alright, see ya.